Okay, so this video is all about postpartum psychosis, which essentially is a psychosis you have, particularly and especially after you've had a baby. I've had it. I was in a mother and baby unit already. When I got pregnant with Jasmine, I had a misdiagnosis of schizophrenia. When I came out of prison to no fixed abode with a train ticket to Birmingham, I went to Birmingham on the train. I had no money at this point, and I walked from New Street at the time to Harborne, where I used to live. And I wasn't very fit, because even though I go to the gym and shit like that, but you don't walk in prison, do you? You don't walk a few miles over to Harborne from town. Something I could regularly do, but I got there, I was fucking knackered, man. And I went back to my old house, and there was a for sale sign outside that I thought, fucking cunt. Because it was a jointly owned mortgage, you see. How he managed to do it, I don't know. Hello, cunt. And then what did I do? Oh, then I just went up to Harborne and sat outside this pub called The Junction. And at the end of the night, these two undercover feds come out. Are you alright, love? Right, yeah, I'm alright. Why? What do you want? I hadn't done anything, just sat here. Yeah, come to Rose Road then. So I was like, oh, God. You don't want to know how many times I've been to Rose Road. So I did, and they were alright with me, and they kept me in the foyer. They didn't put me in a cell or nothing. And they gave me something to eat, a cup of tea. In the morning, these two feds drive me to the neighbourhood office. I'm there all day, all fucking day, yeah. And they put me in this, which I went into two. I can't remember which one it was now. On the Hagley Road, one hotel. And then I got moved from there to another hotel. And I just get this letter one day. I was like, okay, you're being moved to Acott's Green. I'm like, where the fuck's that? I don't know. I don't even know where it was. And oh, fuck's sake. And I had a little bit of money at this point, but on the job centre, some money. So I spent all my money getting a taxi to this temporary accommodation. It was a one-bed flat, unfurnished. There might have been there was a bed, a sofa. That was it. That was it. I mean, looking at it positive, it could have been a nice little flat. It's still there. Imagine it still counts loaned. But I couldn't do anything with it because I was bonkers. I was off the rails. Mental health was fucked, man. Could hear voices. I was detached from reality. Had no support, nothing. Not a worker, nothing. Absolutely fucking. This went on for months. It did, yeah, months. I had to walk into town from Acott's Green to Digbeth and go to a place called Cypher, where they help people who are homeless or like me, temporary accommodation, a bit fucked, and they'd feed you. There are not many women there. Mainly men. In fact, I don't think I was regularly the only woman there. I worked with the workers or eat my food or get some clothes and walk back again. And they really help with their brilliant organisation. Support them if you can, because they do invaluable work with people like me who, through no fault of their own, got chucked out on Christmas Eve by your family and became homeless. So then what happened? I got picked up, I can't remember that. I got picked up by the mental health team anyway, eventually. This went on for months, bearing in mind, listening to voices in my head, everything like that. And they put me in this respite centre in Moseley. They didn't put me in a hospital. They put me in the community. I had to stay there for a few months. And this woman rocks up and she goes, a little bit of paper. And she goes, have a read of that, Rachel. So I was like, right. Read it. At the top, diagnosis, paranoid schizophrenia. I was just like, really? News to me. But because I've been hearing voices and all this shit, she goes, do you agree? I just went, whatever. And that was it. They started pumping me full of all this wrong medication and sending me to a psychiatrist. Can you hear voices? I'm like, no, love, not today. And all this kind of stuff. And then I got more secure accommodation. I got put in Acots Green again. They send quite a few of us to Acots Green, by the way. That's why it's such a dodgy place right now. In some supported accommodation. And it's this like old converted house, and I lived out the back in this little like garagey type flat. You got a bedroom, bathroom, living room, bit of a kitchen, no oven because you had to use the shared facilities. I've been there about 6 months, and the CPN used to come out. I remember like I was awfully depressed. Wouldn't get up, didn't get dressed, cut me arse. And she goes, it's 12 o'clock, Rachel, you're still in your pyjamas. I'm like, and what do you want me to do? You've ruined my life. You've signed me off work. I've lost my child. I'm sat it. Go on, tell me, give me a good reason why I should fucking get dressed and be bothered today, please. Anyway, we've been there 6 months. And this woman, one of the support workers, goes, we've got this house come up. I was like, all right. Yeah, it's a 2-bedroom. We think you and your mate should move in. I was like, well, I went to go and have a look at it. And I was like, okay. So I didn't have much stuff because I didn't go shop. I couldn't be arsed. And we just moved in this house, and I was there for a number of years with my mate until we got a dog, and that was lovely. If there's one thing that helped me, it wasn't fucking psychiatrists. It wasn't fucking the meds you used to give me. It was having that beautiful dog from the dog's home. Walter, we called him, or Doggy as I called him. He was a border collie. He's 8 years old, no teeth. He'd been chained up, locked up. He's very food orientated. He's very clever. And I'd walk him for hours along the canal and play ball with them things, and it just lifted my mood, lifted my spirits. It was something reciprocal, responsibility to take care of, and that's what helped me, a dog. Not fucking Prozac, what he used to give me, cunts. And yeah, one thing led to another. I got on with my life. I started working in a charity shop and blah blah. And then I got pregnant after a one-night stand. I was like, right, I think I was, how old was I? 37. 37, so quite old to have a child, second child. And of course I got this diagnosis of schizophrenia, haven't I? So you just go to the doctor. Well, I left it about 8 weeks. I was 8 weeks pregnant when I took a test. And I go to the doctors and say, look, I've had a positive pregnancy test, and they start all the paperwork, don't they? Give you your green notes, and you see a midwife and that. And I had to have a specialist midwife. They used to come out to the house to see me and listen to the heartbeat and all this kind of stuff. And then you get to 20 weeks, yeah, and they refer you to social services, don't they? I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, I've not exactly done much wrong. I'm just pregnant, yeah. Anyway, they put all this care plan in place. And I have Jasmine at home, on my own, with the dog. Managed to call a neighbour round. And she's like, what shall we do? I'm like, wrap her in a blanket. So I'm on all fours. Look at me. Wrap her in a fucking blanket. So we did. And while she's wrapping her in a blanket, she held her first. I'm like, on the phone to 999 going, yeah, I've had a baby. I'm on my own. Can you come, please? They did. They wouldn't do that now. Not thanks to governmental cuts. They were there within 5 minutes, running up the stairs. And took us to the hospital. I said, do you want to hold her? And I'm sat on this bed in the ambulance, right? And it's really like hurtling toward the hospital. I'm like, no, it's okay. So I start holding her and stuff at the hospital. And my mum comes. She comes eventually. She likes babies. She don't like children much, but everyone likes a baby, don't they? And she's beautiful. She's got a full head of hair. Yeah, full head of hair. And dark it was, very, very dark. I don't know where she got that from, but it was dark. And she kept all her hair. And in my in my green notes, I think they go to purple after that, it was, because of my diagnosis, schizophrenia, I had to do what's called a RAID assessment. So I had to stay in the hospital for 3 days. It was boiling hot. It was awful. It was awful. 3 days I had to stay there for, to be assessed, to see how I cope with the baby and all this kind of stuff. And all the midwives are like, oh, I like your jumper, Rachel. Where's that from? I'm like, oh, I got it from a charity shop, love. And she goes, oh, that's nice, isn't it? I'm like, yes. And you have to engage with them and blah, blah. It's boiling. I remember it's boiling hot in there. It's fucking, oh. Anyway, I'd already chosen the name Jasmine. And I settled on a couple of middle names and blah, blah. And we come out. I passed the test. Social services didn't turn up though, did you? No, you didn't. Anyway, they signed me off. I go home. The little baby in one of them little seats. See me mate. And everyone's lit up my phone. I'm like, fuck off, I can't cope with all of this. And the dog was like, I had to shut the dog. Oh God, I cry. I had to shut the dog out. I thought, I can't have you in here, mate. Not with a little bit. Nah. You got to go downstairs. He was heartbroken. And oh God, I am now, because he died. Yeah, he got a really aggressive form of cancer. He had this huge lump on his nose, yeah. And we took him to the vets and he had a biopsy, and then he just got this secondary infection, and he had to be put down at home. And my mate reckons to this day we shouldn't have done it, but I said it was the kindest thing to do in a way. And they just wrapped up this big old border collie in a blanket and took him out, and oh, it was awful. Anyway, that's in the past now. But where was I? Oh yeah, so Jasmine's asleep in her little Moses basket, and I'm trying to get some. I don't sleep very well anyway, so I'm trying to get some sleep. And I go to sleep and I wake up and I'm like convulsing on the bed. I'm like, what the fuck? And in the hospital they put it down as trauma, because obviously having a baby on your own, it's not the best thing to do, is it? It's quite dangerous. It's quite risky. I was fucking lucky. It happened so quickly. I didn't even know you could have a baby in 2 hours from start to finish, but clearly you can. So anyway, the midwife comes round in the morning, doesn't she? She comes in and she goes, she looks at the house. Nothing wrong with that house. It's a really nice house. Nothing wrong with it. Anyway, she looks at my diagnosis and I tell her, I said, look, I'm in my backup plan. If things don't go according to plan or very well, you're to go to a mother and baby unit, which I'd already been to look round. And you're to go there. So I go to her, look, I'm not coping, love. I really don't feel that good. I think I should go to that mother and baby unit. Do you know what she said? You can't demand to go to a mother and baby unit. I was like, it's written here. Here, phone him, ask him if I can fucking go, yeah? We didn't get along too well at that point. Back in the days I was speaking to mum and dad, so I was on the phone to dad going, listen, I'm going to that unit, dad, you better get down here now. So dad hurtles down from Derby, gets stuck on the Coventry Road, and the woman wants to call for backup because I'm kicking off. I nearly locked her in the house. I didn't. I thought about it. And he goes, don't do it, Rachel. I was like, well, she's a fucking... Just don't do it. Just behave until we get that. So I'm like, okay, hurry up then. He's all from the Coventry Road. All right. So they come up. They've already been to see Jasmine in hospital and that. So they get the car seat. They get all our stuff together. And we go to this mother and baby unit. And secure unit. It's called the Barbary in Birmingham, next to the QE. Really nice, very nice inside. Mum called it the baby hotel, but she's a fucking idiot. And basically, I stayed there for 9 months. 9 months. Some of that I was a bed blocker because I had to move out of the shared house and I had to get a place of my own, and that took time. So I just had to stay there. I had to grin and bear it. Nothing you could do. I was in a psychiatric unit. Didn't need to be there, but I had to fucking stay till we could get our place sorted and move out. So we did. But at this point, apart from having flashbacks to prison and shit like that, and kicking off and being a little bit aggressive, because I'm banged up. Don't like being banged up. It's not nice. It's not nice. It's not nice being watched. It's not nice being told what to do. It's not nice having your meds forced down your fucking throat. 6 weeks pass. Jasmine has this gastro thing. She has to, cries all the time, yeah, when you feed her. Bottle fed she was because of the tablets I was on. And eventually the doctor gave us some Gaviscon, what had to go in every bottle, and that seemed to alleviate the problem, but they just do so many tests to make sure it's not milk intolerance, etc, etc. And things were all right, as much as they can be within a psychiatric unit, and then I just went a bit bonkers. I wasn't sleeping. They couldn't make me sleep. Sleeping tablets weren't touching me. I was up all night, and that's when I got detached from reality again. I was like away with the fairies, talking to myself, smoking in inappropriate places, wouldn't engage with the staff, and this went on all night, yeah. And they're coming up, I'm going, fuck off, and all this kind of stuff. And then that was the night staff, but don't get me started on night staff. And then the day staff rock up, and they obviously see I'm not very well. And they're like, well, we've got to take her down now to her room, innit? And every incarceration I've had, every single one, has ended with a shot in the ass, yeah? A shot of lorazepam to put you to sleep. I wouldn't have it up with it. Do you want it orally? Fuck off! So that was it. I was jabbed. I was out. I was out for about a day. I needed to be. And I wake up, and the consultant psychiatrist is sat on the end of my bed. And I'm like, oh, hello. How you feeling? Right. Embarrassed. Why? What do you want to know for? Nosy old Parker. And yeah, I had postpartum psych. I didn't know I was going to get it. No one knows they're going to get it. Some people get it hours. Some people get it months. Some people get it a long time after. But it's called postpartum psychosis. But interestingly, my mum and dad, who now disown me for having Jasmine and all this kind of bollocks, my mum had it in the 70s, 1976. I was born in October, and they kept her in hospital. I got away lightly because I spent the first 6 weeks of my life in hospital. I did in the John Radcliffe Hospital in Oxford, and they pumped her full of meds, but they did worse than that because it was the 70s. They gave her ECT. But I always wondered why there were no pictures of me, you see, because there just weren't. And I was quite a cute little baby, but little ginger hair. But what it was, there are these pictures that, looking back, you think, well, that's not newborn, is it? I'm smiling and shit like that. But yeah, so there you go. That's all about postpartum psychosis.